What's going on out there, world? It's your boy Tommy on the spot for Watch Along Wrestling. Thanks so much for checking us out here today. If it's your first time on the channel, welcome aboard. You look great, and thanks for joining us. Today we are going to talk about No Way Out 2002, the New World Order, coming to WWF, and this is an exciting time here. If you guys don't know, I had talked a couple months ago about starting a WWE pay-per-view collection. I figured why not start with 2002, because that is the first year that WWE had every single pay-per-view available on DVD. 2001, for whatever reason, they left out No Way Out 2001, but 2002 they have everyone cover to cover. So I figured, while starting this DVD collection, why not collect all the DVDs for 2002? If you haven't done so, make sure you go back into the archives. I already have 2002's Royal Rumble, both unboxed and reviewed. And in this particular video, I'm going to actually do an unboxing and a review. Reason for that? I'll be honest with you guys. This here is not the authentic WWE DVD for No Way Out 2002. While I have completed the collection, I don't have the authentic DVD releases for two of the events in 2002, that being No Way Out and Vengeance. Somebody had put up a complete collection of 2002 DVDs on eBay, and I went ahead and I bought them. I was excited. I won them in an auction, and I quickly realized, though, that this wasn't all of them. It was 12 different DVDs. However, it was they had a couple of different kind of changes, so to speak. There was no Way Out, there was no Judgment Day, and there was no Vengeance. Instead, they were been replaced with a couple of the UK-only shows, as well as the Global Warning Tour, which is great, because we're going to be able to review those. But I had asked them if they had those three DVDs. They said those weren't for sale. I said, totally understand that. I'm trying to do this entire deal for YouTube, whatever. They said, oh, well, good luck in trying to get those. Now, I'd already had Judgment Day, and my plan was eventually to get No Way Out and Vengeance. But those are very pricey DVDs. I'm not entirely sure why this one is pricey at all. I mean, the reasons why is because it was before the WWE name change, the name change. I think that's the reason why. So they still have the WWF scratch logo. This is before that changeover. At least I know that's why Vengeance and Judgment Day, rather, are really difficult to get. Those are like hundreds of dollars each on eBay. But this one's like 35, 40 bucks. And what happened was, I got those DVDs from that seller, and what the seller did was make like pretty much perfect copies of those three shows for me on DVD so I can complete my collection. And I looked at them, and I was like, if I could ever get them for cheap, I'll definitely do it. But we're getting to the end of February. I wanted to get this No Way Out 2002 review in the bag and review it for you guys so we could start our build towards Wrestlemania 18. And this has no extras at all. This is just the show. And so honestly, I felt like I wasn't necessarily sure that I necessarily wanted to drop $40, $50 down on the No Way Out 2002 DVD when it's just the show. And because honestly, this copy is perfect. I mean, they have everything. You would never know it was a copy unless I told you. But with that being said, let's get into the unboxing like we always would, and then we'll circle back and we'll go through.
All right, well, there you have it here. The front cover, World Wrestling Federation. You can see the big WWF scratch logo, as I mentioned. Really, there's four things this show is built around. Your three top matches, a triple main event, and the debut of the NWO. The show does very well, despite the fact that really, I mean, I've gone back and watched most of these shows. They eventually do reveal the card, but nothing is hyped pretty much whatsoever except these three matches. These are your three big ones, and then obviously the debut of the NWO. So take a look at these here. You can see you've got Austin versus Jericho, Undertaker versus Rock, Triple H versus Kurt Angle, and obviously looks like it's a copy of the cover, as the colors are a little off base, but I like this here. I like the No Way Out sign there. The street sign they turned into that with the NWO scratches for each one of No Way Out. And it says New World Order right there, TV 14. Let's turn this over here so you can see the binding of it. And it says No Way Out there. You've got, you can see it says, I believe that's 54? So 54 DVD release for WWE at the time. So they're really rolling here. And it says, February 17th, 2002, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a lethal virus has been unleashed on the World Wrestling Federation. It's called the NWO. If you remember, this is Vince McMahon injecting the WWE with a lethal dose of poison. So upset about his loss to Ric Flair at the Royal Rumble 2002. WWF Undisputed Championship, Chris Jericho versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Rock versus The Undertaker. WWF Tag Team Championship, Taz and Spike Dudley versus Booker T and Test. Brass Knuckles on a pole. What's up, Vince Russo? Intercontinental Championship, William Regal versus Edge. You've got number one contender match, Triple H versus Kurt Angle, special guest referee, Stephanie McMahon. Goldust versus Rob Van Dam. Tag Team Turmoil, winner gets the WWF Tag Team title shot at WrestleMania 18. Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, Christian and Lance Storm, APA, Scotty 2 Hotty and Albert, and Billy and Chuck. And there you go. You've got Hall, Nash, and Scott Hall. Looking good. WWF home video logo down there.
So there you have it with the unboxing portion of No Way Out 2002. And honestly, this show is an interesting mixed bag. I think that because I'm so involved right now in watching all of these different shows, I got a kick out of this show. I liked the way that the stories were told. I liked how it was weaved together. It's not a great show, though. I couldn't even tell you what my favorite match of the evening was. Probably the opening tag Turmoil, because each one of the matches don't really live up to the hype. And the main reason for that is because it feels like this show has everything there that's kind of stagnant toward wherever it is that they're trying to get to for WrestleMania. They needed to do a pay-per-view, and they figured that this portion of the pay-per-view would pretty much be to introduce the NWO, reintroduce these characters to get ready for WrestleMania, and in doing so, they were just going to kind of go through the motions for everything else. They end up doing, as I said, an incredible buy rate, because people were really into the NWO coming back, because you're getting two former world champions in WWE in Diesel and Hulk Hogan. And then you're also getting the return of Razor Ramon, who's one of the biggest stars in WWE history, and this has been the first time they've been in WWE television since 1996 for Hall and Nash, and 1993 for Hulk Hogan. So it really was, I think that portion of it was the main draw of this show. I think the highlight of the show, if I'm being honest, is probably the opening package, that opening interview, rather, where NWO come out, Hall hits the hey yo, and the crowd just loses their mind. And hearing each one of these guys get a minute to reintroduce themselves to the WWE audience, Hogan even getting a little choked up, was really cool. Now, granted, I didn't love the introduction here because I felt like they were being introduced as Poison and they were going to ruin everything. So to have them come out and kind of try to babyface everyone was a little strange. But at the end of the day, I think that it was just cool. It was a cool moment to see. If you're going to watch one thing of this show, turn it on, check out that, and then move on. It was because that portion of it is probably the thing you need to see most if you're kind of rewatching and doing this whole deal, getting to the road to WrestleMania 18, because that's a pretty cool introduction. First match, I thought was a lot of fun. Tag Team Turmoil match. Yeah, for a shot at the tag champions going into WrestleMania 18. I really thought going into this, Billy and Chuck were going to win. They were really getting over at this point. They were with the new characters that the two of them had. They had a calendar out with their different poses that they were doing, and they were really getting a big push on SmackDown. They were really the only one of these teams, if I'm being honest. I mean, who are they again? I mean, you've got, let me pull it up here. You've got Scotty 2 Hotty and Albert, fun opening act, but not much more. Christian and Lance Storm were just kind of starting to get, put together as a team post-alliance, with Christian kind of trying to push the whole tantruming type deal. Dudleys were a little long in the tooth, if I'm being honest. I know a lot of people love the Dudleys and hate the split, but I do think the split is probably for the best. Same kind of deal with the Hardys, who really weren't involved at all in any of the storylines post-Royal Rumble. They were reintroduced here. Not entirely sure what was going on with them at the time. And then, obviously, APA, they were a fun kind of backstage unit, but not really serious threats in the tag division. And then you had Billy and Chuck. So I thought for sure Billy and Chuck were going to win this, and the storylines would have suggested that they go on and face the team of Taz and Spike. None of that happens. Instead, APA win the match. Good match, fun match. Go check it out. Opening contest. It's probably the best, like, in terms of in-ring action on the whole show. Then they go ahead and APA win this. And then by the time the Royal Rumble, by the time WrestleMania rolls around, they throw everything up in the air when it comes to the tag team title match there, as we'll get to as we continue to unearth some of this stuff. Next match of the evening, Rob Van Dam versus Goldust. Strange match here. RVD was somebody who was a big, kind of being pushed to, kind of ascend up the top of the WWE ranks. He's somebody that I think the crowd was really getting behind. He was a fun new character for them. Debuted, obviously, during the Alliance era. But Goldust had just made his return, so it was kind of weird to pair these guys together. Good match, though. The crowd actually really gets... I feel like if this was 2021, they probably would have even gotten a "This is awesome" chant. But it was it was interesting. I think Goldust should have probably gotten a good win here if they wanted him to be taken seriously moving forward, but I'm not necessarily sure that's what they wanted to be taken seriously. So RVD gets the win nonetheless. Moving right along here, William Regal versus Edge. This is, I mean, we're really getting long in the tooth with this feud. Thank goodness this is the end of it here. Brass knucks on a pole. The whole deal here is eventually Edge does retrieve the brass knucks, but when he's ready to use them, William Regal pulls out another pair of brass knucks, power of the punch. William Regal retains the title, and we move on. So, didn't love this feud. I'm glad to see it kind of go. Booker T and Test, they were a team during the Alliance, and kind of, again, that holdover from there. Not sure what to do with these guys yet. They're teaming here against Taz and Spike, and Taz and Spike, I was excited. They kept the titles. I really thought going into Wrestlemania they were going to be your tag champs. That unfortunately is not the case. They lose the titles before that. I like this duo though. Didn't love the match. The match is bizarre. It kind of, Jack Doan ends up being the guy to cost Test. Referee Jack Doan ends up being the guy to cost Test and Booker T the match. It's weird. Didn't really work for me. All right, getting into the bigger matches of the evening. You first had The Rock versus The Undertaker. Decent enough for what it is. Honestly, the backstage stuff, because you get a couple of backstage things with the NWO, reintroducing them to The Rock, and they're introduced to The Rock, they're introducing themselves to Austin. Those interactions backstage are pretty important because they show how these guys are eventually going to get involved throughout the remainder of the evening. Rock actually kind of buries the NWO, kind of makes fun of them for their past incarnations. This is the famous that he does for Kevin Nash when he talks about Big Daddy Cool Diesel. And then he and Hogan have their first interaction. They start to tease there between the two of them, but they don't give you too much. That's really the only thing. They don't show up in Rock's match. Ric Flair does show up in Rock's match, though, costs The Undertaker the match, and Rock goes ahead and gets a pin. So again, even thus far on the show, I mean, very few clean victories so far. Nothing they really kind of wanted to give away here. Just building towards the eventual match between Undertaker and Ric Flair, using The Rock and Taker to do that. Next up, probably the biggest surprise on this show, I did not remember this at all, Kurt Angle and Triple H. Stephanie McMahon as the referee. I watched this match, and going into it, I was like, well, obviously I know Hunter gets to WrestleMania, so how do they get him to beat Angle here, setting up, with Stephanie as the ref? They don't. Kurt Angle gets the win. Very surprising. I did not remember that kind of fork in the road, but it then really made you think. I mean, if you were watching at the time, it would have made you think that Austin was being set up to win the title at the end of the night. So it was a cool little fork in the road there. Obviously, if Triple H was winning, they weren't going to do Triple H and Austin in the main event, so it would have been a giveaway that Jericho was going to get the win. Instead, Austin goes ahead and, Angle goes ahead, he gets the win. So now it makes you think, well, they're not going to go Angle and Jericho. Austin's got to win the title. Now you're amped up for the main event. Gets to the main event, Austin versus Jericho. This is where the NWO gets involved. They cost Austin the match. So it's an interesting ending to the show. Really, again, the entire show is just meant as a vehicle to be a cliffhanger for what's to come. So as a standalone show, there's really not too much to this show. You can kind of see now why when the very nice seller was nice enough to make me copies of these DVDs that I was, and I don't know if he made copies or he just had his copies and didn't want to, I guess you can't really sell like copies on eBay, so threw them in for me. Very, very kind. I was excited to see them. At first I thought they were the legit deals, and I was like, oh my god, this guy just threw these in for free. Like, I was so excited. But even so, I was glad to get them. And because this is not really a show that there's so much meat on the bone, it's fine, I feel like, that I don't have this one. I'm gonna do my best to get The Vengeance 2002, but again, it's tough to drop $100-something down on one DVD. So we'll see where we go. We no promises on Vengeance, but we have a little ways to get there, as obviously the next DVD in our set will be the WrestleMania 18 unboxing and reviews, which will be coming real soon. Lots of other fun stuff on the way, coming up on a very exciting 20-year anniversary as well, so you know we're going to touch on that. Lots of fun stuff. So I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are as well. Leave me your feedback of No Way Out 2002 in the comments section below, and I will see you guys in the next video.